Welcome back, Pokemon fans. Angel of the Night here. We are back again with the Inkay Games, and ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the Grand Finals. This is the final battle for all divisions in the Inkay Games, and our opponent today is going to be Chance. Now, this battle format is Regulation H. However, we had some special rules for it. We had to go with Pokemon that start with the first letter of the last letter of the previous Pokemon. So if you take a look there, Galvantula actually ends in the letter A, which means that we had to choose a Azumarill, which then brought in Lycanroc, Silasur, Rillaboom, and our Murkrow. So if we look at the opposing side there's quite a few Pokemon on the opposing side that actually threw me off here. Actually almost scared me quite a bit. There is the Tyranitar and the Excadrill, and of course a Spathra is a big threat as well. I haven't seen a Spathra used as much since Regulation, I think it was E or F came out. But I do know that it does carry the whole speed boost situation. And then of course there is the prankster SableyE. That is also going to be a problem. So if we take a look at the team here, that's exactly what he's going to lead off with. He's going to go with the Espathra and the SableyE. We're going to send in Rillaboom here and our Galvantula. Now, I could have gone for the Sticky Web to try to lower the speed on the opposing side, but I know that if Espathra gets a speed boost, it could be a big issue. So I decided to actually go in for a Thunder here, considering that I believe it's a flying type. I was hoping that I was going to be able to get some serious damage. They end up going in for the Protect right away, which actually is pretty smart now that I think about it. We're going to go with the Fake Out here. Fake Out, of course, is not going to make contact with the Espathra due to the Protect. And then, of course, there's the Reflect coming in from the SableyE. Now, with the whole Reflect thing, that's going to boost up the entire defensive stats of the opposing side for approximately, I believe, 5 turns. And then, of course, the Thunder is also not making contact with the Espathra as well due to the fact of the Protect. Now, we do have the Galvantula capable of making a move here. I'm thinking to myself, well, if Speed Boost actually did take a turn here, boosting up the speed, I should probably go for the Sticky Web and lower the speed of the Espathra and any other Pokemon that may be coming in, especially if they decide to go with a T-Tar and a Excadrill combo. It might help me out in the future. Gravity is actually into play, and Hypnosis actually comes in. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't even know that Espathra got Hypnosis. That's actually just throwing me for a loop right now, because I'm like, oh man, I'm like, what am I going to do? If my entire team gets put to sleep, that's going to be a huge issue. We ended up going in for the Woodhammer here into the SableyE. I was actually really hoping I'd be able to knock it out, but we actually didn't make that connect. We didn't get that crit. We didn't get that max damage, I don't think. But pretty much at this point, I ended up choosing a Bug Buzz, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or it was a Thunder. I kind of missed that part, but they're going to actually call back the SableyE here. I ended up choosing my Grass move here again, and then of course in comes a Annihilate. Now, Annihilate, of course, is a threat all on its own. Grassy Glide does absolutely nothing to that Annihilate, and now, of course, Rillaboom is now asleep. Espathra is just running wild, just making every Pokemon fall asleep. I'm pretty sure that has something to do with the gravity situation, I'm pretty sure. But, of course, every Pokemon that's on the field is going to regain a little bit of health here as we go. Now, the next play here, I'm a little bit concerned here in regards to what this Espathra is going to be able to do. Seeing as how I believe it's a Flying type and a Psychic type, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, just let me know, guys. But at the time of this battle, I'm thinking that this is a Flying type. We lock in the move there with Professor David, of course, and now I'm kind of debating on what I'm going to do here with Nico. I'm thinking I should probably go for a Terrestrialization here of Fire, maybe so that way I don't get hit by any kind of major bird type move, or flying type move rather. So we actually ended up going in for the Terrestrialization of Fire, and then of course we actually go in for the High Horsepower. The reason I went for the High Horsepower is in case he decided to swap out the Annihilate for something else. I thought maybe Excadrill might come in and play, but definitely not the situation there. We actually managed to get some serious damage to our Galvantula from that Espathra. Still asleep, we can't actually retaliate. Annihilate is actually going to go in for the Bulk Up, which actually kind of took me off guard. I thought maybe they would have swapped it out, maybe thinking I might have had like a knockoff. And I'm going to be honest with you, when I made this team, I wasn't really thinking about having knockoff onto it. I thought, you know what, it's fine, I'll take knockoff off. Terrible idea. Put your knockoffs onto the Rillaboons, guys. Put the knockoffs on. Okay, so all the Pokemon are gaining a little bit of health here, and of course Espathra is also getting that speed boost. We are going to go for the Bug Buzz, if I'm not mistaken, here into the Espathra, hoping that we might be able to wake up. And then of course we are choosing the Wood Hammer into the Annihilate. I'm hoping that I might be able to get some sort of stab damage here if I do make contact, but we'll have to wait and find out what the actual outcome is here. We are going to see another Lumina crash from the Espathra into the Galvantula. Unfortunately for me, that is going to be able to pick up the KO and just knock out the Galvantula. We're going to see another bulk up coming in here from the Annihilate, but I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a little bit discouraged seeing that. I know that once this thing sets up, it's going to be very difficult to take out. So my mind was definitely racing here and thinking, okay, what am I going to do for this team? He's got some seriously stacked Mons, okay? Like, the Pokemon that are on this side, I would have never even thought of piecing together. I thought I did pretty good with the team that I figured out, but obviously this team totally counters pretty much everything that I've got. Speed boost, of course, still coming in with the Espathra, boosting up that speed almost to max. And the next Pokemon I decided to bring in is Hefnasty, which is actually my Lycanroc. Now, I decide, well, you know what, if I go for the Accelerock, I might be able to get some priority damage off here onto the Espathra. But then I thought, you know what, to get some more damage, I might as well just go for the Crunch and maybe try to pick up a KO here. With the Rillaboom, I really don't know what to do. A lot of my moves that I have are not really doing anything to this Annihilate. This Annihilate is going to run wild. In comes the Espathra with a Hypnosis, managing to actually put Hefnasty to sleep. And I'll be honest with you, I wish I had some sort of like a Lumberry or like a berry to wake up some of these Pokemon, but unfortunately for me, that's not the case. I have none of those as an option. There's the Rage Fist coming in from the Annihilate. It's going to be able to pick up a one-hit KO onto our Rillaboom, and that brings us down to 2 Pokemon remaining on the team. We've got our Lycanroc and one other Pokemon with us. And of course, as you can see here, the Annihilate is actually going to pick up a little bit more of the leftovers. And as you guys know, it's obviously leftover Chinese food because that stuff lasts forever, but it's not Thai food, okay? Thai food, there's never any leftovers in the fridge, let's be honest. Mad Batter is coming in. Of course, I also named this Azumarill after Amber, my girlfriend, the Mad Batter. She ended up making something called the Mad Batter Bake Shop. She's a professional pastry chef and all that, so I thought it was pretty cool. I'm like, you know what? The Mad Hatter and the Rabbit and all that, I was like, we'll call it Mad Batter, you know, if you know what I'm saying. But of course, we're going to lock in for some moves here and try to get some damage off on the opposing side. There is the Terrestrialization coming in here. I'm pretty sure it's with the Annihilate. And Annihilate is going to go for the Terrestrial of Water. Now, if that ain't a slap in the face, I don't know what is. Honestly, that was the best decision possible. Okay, Mad Batter actually avoided the Hypnosis, which was fantastic. Hefnasty wakes up, and we managed to get a Crunch off onto the Espathra. Not really going to be able to take it out, I'm afraid. There's the Drain Punch, of course, going into the Lycanroc. That is going to be able to pick up the KO, and of course going to regain the health back onto the Annihilate. Now, of course, with the Mad Batter, the Azumarill, pretty much at this point, I can't do any kind of water moves, and my Play Rough doesn't really do anything. So that pretty much means that this is going to be game. Now, could I have gone for a Belly Drum? Very possible. If I managed to get a Belly Drum off, I might have been able to boost up my stats enough, but I know that I wouldn't have been able to live from a Lumina Crash, and or I wouldn't have been able to, not be Hypnosis. So I pretty much knew I might have been destroyed. But if you look here, somehow I actually did manage to live a Lumina Crash. So maybe if I actually managed to get the Belly Drum, I might have been able to do something the next turn, but the Rage Fist did actually end up picking up the KO, so that is game number 1. So good game, Chance. That was a fantastic team you put together. I think it was pretty impressive given the conditions and what we had to do with the first name, last name. So kudos to you. That was amazing. I'm glad you actually have a really wicked team here to face. Next battle, of course, we're going to lead off here with the Murkrow and the Silezer. the whole idea with the Silezer was to be able to set up that whole Shed Tail with the substitute and go into another Pokemon, so that way I could, you know, go for like either a Swords Dance or I could go for like a Belly Drum, boost up some stats on my Mons, and then try to rip right through the opposing team. So pretty much at this time, I know that Murkrow could set up the Tailwind. The SableyE, of course, I knew it had Reflect and stuff, but I didn't think about Taunt. Before this battle, I'll be honest, I didn't really see a whole lot of SableyE. And of course, we can't use the Shed Tail after the Taunt. Rock Slide does come in and actually does rip right through this Murkrow of mine. And of course, the Sandstorm is actually taking away some health every turn. Murkrow is down to about 5 HP. That's not a good situation for us. So pretty much I'm thinking to myself, well, what can I really do here? I'm going to go in for pretty much the foul play, I think. I'm going to try to get some damage off onto the SableyE, but I do have the Regenerator on the Silezer, so if I do swap out and swap back in at some point, I'll come back in with more health than what I actually left with. So we actually ended up coming in with a Rillaboom here. I thought maybe I could actually get like a Wood Hammer off onto one of these Pokemon, maybe a high horsepower into the Tyranitar, but then of course the SableyE sets up a Reflect, and that basically boosts up all the defensive values on the opposing side. So that actually is a really decent play. It's very smart, very strategic, and definitely helps out the Chance's teams. So unfortunately, we do lose the Murkrow. Rillaboom is still in here. It's getting a little bit of Sandstorm damage. And of course, you know, SableyE is still in there running wild, wreaking havoc, changing things up on me. And here we are. We're going to go back in pretty much with the Retro Knight. The Silezer, I'm pretty sure. Now, this Silezer here, I tried so many different sets, and every time I try to use a Silezer, I found that even in practice matches in Regulation H, it tended to only work about maybe, I don't know, about maybe 50% of the time, so it was kind of hit and miss. Not many people are running Silezer right now. I think it's just because of all the taunters running around, and as you can see, that's definitely the case. Basically, I'm thinking to myself, well, am I going to go for the Wood Hammer? Am I going to go for the high horsepower? Like, what am I going to do here? I did end up locking into some moves, and I'm hoping for the best here. My fingers are crossed, and I'm really hoping I can maybe get something, some sort of damage off on the other side. He does set up the special defense on his team, and of course Draco Meteor doesn't really do anything because of that. Not that, you know, Silezer has any major special attack, but we did manage to get a decent Wood Hammer off onto the SableyE, which I'm very happy about. Here comes in the Rock Slide, taking both of my Pokemon down. Rillaboom very hurting here. I'm going to be very surprised if it actually survives another turn, to be honest. I know that I can't really do much in regards to like a Shed Tail right at the moment, but luckily for us, our SableyE on the opposing side is actually knocked out. So that might actually give me the potential of doing a Shed Tail at some point and bringing in my Pokemon in behind. Again, Sandstorm is running wild. I'm really glad here that my opponent didn't actually bring in ExcadrilL. However, Espathra is just as big of a threat, even though, you know, Sandstorm and Excadrill run together like, you know, two peas in a pod. Pretty much at this point, I'm thinking to myself, well, what am I going to be able to do? Can I outspeed anything here? I pretty much am going to go for the knockoff on the Espathra. It doesn't really do a whole lot of damage, but again, you got to remember Reflect is up. The Cloak has been dropped. We did get some damage off onto the Tyranitar. It doesn't really do a whole lot, but it does activate the weakness policy and boosts up some stats, like the attack stats. Luminia Crash is coming in. It actually ends up knocking out Rillaboom. And I'm going to be honest with you, Rillaboom without knockoff was probably the worst decision I had on this team. I really required that knockoff. Of course, we also get knocked out with our Silezer, and that leaves our last and final Pokemon remaining. Heavy Duty Boots, of course, was knocked off from the Silezer, so we wouldn't take any kind of damage from any kind of like entry hazards or anything along those lines. HP is, of course, being restored on the opposing side, and my Tailwind has dropped. Speed Boost is being raised by the Espathra, and that leaves me left with the Mad Batter. So guys, I just want to say a huge shout out to my opponent. Chance, you did fantastic, and you definitely deserve the wins on this. You had an amazing team, and I hope you had fun in our battle. Guys, I'm looking very forward to the next season of Inkay Games, and I hope I'm invited back. I had a blast. This is probably the most fun I've had with Wi-Fi battling in years. And the fact that I got to meet a lot of good VGC players and a lot of great battlers, like, that was truly awesome. I picked up a lot of awesome skills from you guys. I picked up some interesting plays, and I hope to use those in the future as well. So you guys can pretty much count on me for trying to get into Inkay Games Season 2. So if you guys enjoyed this series, make sure you post a like and a comment, and hopefully I will catch you guys in the next upload. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and it's been a pleasure. Peace out.